Hey everyone, welcome back to 6i YouTube channel. As you know by now, we turn coding ideas into reality. So if you are new to this channel, my name is Simpia with a C, taking it one block at a time. So in this video, we are going to be looking at the difference between the line-based coding and the block-based coding. So please subscribe, like and smash that bell. That will motivate me to do more of these videos. Without waste of time, let's jump into it. All right, so now before we jump into some fun stuff, let's look at these slides quickly. So by the end of this video, you'll be able to understand the purpose of flowcharts in coding, and we'll learn the basic symbols used in flowcharts, and we'll analyze some flowcharts to understand how different paths are being followed based on the conditions, and we'll learn the loops that are being represented in the flowcharts, and we'll learn the block-based and line-based coding. It means in this video we'll be doing the block-based and interpret it to the line-based coding using Python, of which is a text editor, to create a code. It involves the typing of instructions or code. So and we'll learn also to download Python and VS Code IDE, of which that will be the IDE we'll be using to create our codes. Okay guys, now we have to download Python. So we'll come to this link here, welcome to python.org, then we'll click it. It will send us straight to their home page. We come to downloads, click it, this button, then we just click here. If you can't find it there, you'll find it in your downloads folder. Then apparently I've already installed mine, so you'll find the install. Just click that button, install, then just follow all the next and the next and the finish. So let's quickly go and download VS Code. To say VS Code download. Now let's quickly download the IDE that we'll be using, of which is a VS Code. So go to a VS Code website and download one for Windows, but if you're using Mac, you'll download the OS one. Then after it's done downloading, you launch it and install it on your PC. I'm done, so just click here, which will take me right here. Then I'll accept the agreement, then I'll click next to this tutorial. So it's preparing to install. Then after it's done installing, we have to launch it, so I can show you the basics of VS Code. So then we have to launch it, then we'll say finish. Okay guys, this is the welcome dashboard of VS Code. So let's quickly fix some stuff here. Let's go and check if I've installed. Okay, you come here and you type the extension of Python and you install. Just click the install, so VS Code can be able to read the Python libraries. So okay, after that being done, we'll come back to the line-based coding. We'll be looking at the flowchart. So we'll be coding a calculator that will be calculating the average marks of a learner, or of your own marks, say a learner or a student. So the flowchart looks like this. So first, it will be the inputs. This is where we'll be inputting the grades of or your marks, or of which in the flowchart it will be the purple quadrilateral or parallelogram, of which it will show us the input or the output. The second is the yellow rectangle, shows the process. So here what's happening is that the code will take the total equals to math plus English plus history. They will be added together. Okay, then we'll jump into average. Then we'll have average equals to the total of which is on this first rectangle. We'll divide it by 3 because we have 3 subjects here. Now we'll get the display of average marks, of which is also a purple quadrilateral, of which we said this will be the input or the output. Then our code will end. So what's really happening here? Let me sum it up. When we press the green flag, this is where the code will execute. We start by inputting the grades, then the code will sum up all the marks, then it will divide the marks by 3, of which this will be the average, then it will display the average, then the code will end. All right, now let's scratch it and have some fun. So what I will do is that I will be coding that calculator, then I'll explain what is happening behind the hood. Okay, so now let's begin. So we'll go to event. This is where we start. Then we say sensing. This is where we'll be asked for the grade. Then we say what is your grade in English? Okay, then we'll come and make a variable. Same variable English. Then we say set variable into English. Then we come here, say answer. Then we come to sensing again. Then we look for the maths question. We say what is your grade in math? Then come back here, we make another variable, we say math. Then we say set to math, come to answer. Then we come back here. Now we'll be asked what is your grade in history? Okay, then we come back to variable, make a history variable, say okay. Then we drag this block here, set it to history, come to sensing, set an answer here. Okay, so if I'm quick, please just slow it down on that gear icon there on YouTube. Then we can even pause it so we can make a screenshot of this code so you'll be able to practice, because that's the whole point of these tutorials. So now we'll have to come back here and set a total variable, because we have to get the total. This is where we'll be adding all those subjects. Then we'll come and say set total. Then we come here to operators. We have to add them together, of which there are 3, right? So the best possible way that is simple is to just embed these blocks together before you embed them to this set total tool. Then we'll come back here to variables. So we'll take the variable of English, then come and take the variable for history, and take the variable for math. If you look closely, once I place this math here, you can see that there's this circle, the white circle here. So it tells you that this block of math will just snap inside that, just like that. So be careful when you embed the blocks on top of each other. Let's go create another variable for average. So we come and say our average, we have to divide. Remember, on the flowchart we have to divide these 3 subjects by 3. So we'll come and take this operator, the division operator, and when we say divide by 3, let me just put 3 here. Then we said we'll divide the total by 3. So where do we get the total? We come here to variables and we'll find our total right here. Then we embed it here. Okay, then we come to say, because we want our sprite to tell us the average. Then we'll say okay, say, then we come to it will say the average if you just come and click and say okay, average, say average. but we'll just say average. But we just let's just spice it up. Let's come to operators here and see if we can't join this together. Then we'll say your average is, then let's put average right here. Now let's check if our code is correct. So here we go. So the sprite is asking us, what is your grade in English? I'll say 54. Then I press enter. What's your grade in math? I'll say 58. Then what's your grade in history? I'll say 62. Then your average is 58. So we can put it in a calculator. You'll get the same results. So what's really happening here under this hood is that when you execute this code, this ask block, it produces the field where we punch in the figures or the marks, as you may say. Then the answer gets embedded here. Then with math also same applies, same code. Then when we come to history, we get our history. I said history is 15, then we get the average. So after this code, we execute the history code, we get the answer. Then we set the total is English plus math plus history. We add them together, we get 114. Then we divide it by 3. We take the variable of the total, we put it here. Then we divide it by 3. Then we get to the say. So the say block is the one that is saying your average is, of which this is your average is. Then it says the average, of which is the variable that we took from the average block. So with that being said, let's go and jump into the line-based coding, of which is Python. Okay, now we're on a Visual Studio Code. So here we'll be literally typing the code. So what really happens here is that we'll be using Python, and Python is very strict when it comes to its syntax. And we'll be using parentheses, we'll be using the quotations, and we'll be using much more simple things. First things first, let's open a new folder so we will be able to store our documents. So I'll just save it here and create a new folder and say CXI tutorials. Okay, so I'll select this folder. Every code that we'll be doing or you'll be doing will go straight to that folder. Whenever you look for it is on that folder, but immediately when you open your VS Code, the folder will be already there. So yes, I trust the author. What happens here is that before we start, we have to come and make a new file here, and then that new file, we'll call it a calc for calculator. Before I say enter, we just need to put an extension. So in Word, you just name the document, and the Word will say, oh, this is a doxc or whatever the extension that you'll be choosing. So here we have to literally type py for Python. If you noticed, after I've typed the py, we got the Python logo. And then when you press enter, we get the document. Then we can remove the welcome one. So what will happen here? Every code it has they call them libraries. So the libraries, everything is written in small letters. The only thing that we can write in capital letters are strings. So let me quickly write this code. We set this math equals, say int. Let me just type this code, then I'll explain what's happening here. Okay, so as you can see, we have different colors here. So this is a variable, of which is maths. Then we have an integer, of which is a class. Integers, these are the numbers. And we have the input, of which this is where we'll be asked to input the grades. So this orange one, we call it a string. This is where you can write anything with capital letters or small letters, as long as you have the quotation marks. Then we have the parenthesis. So this yellow parenthesis goes with this yellow one, and this purplish one goes with this one. This one I won't be much explaining it because it will be confusing for you grade 7s and teachers who are not familiar with Python. So now let's stick to the tutorial on the calculator. Now let's continue with the tutorial. Then we said we have English, right? Say equals, then we'll say int, we say input, then we say what is your grade in English. So now what I will do here, I'll just copy this line here, then paste it here, then I'll just change English into history, then I'll change this variable also. There we go. So these are the 3 subjects that we'll be calculating, right? Then now we have to go and do the total, of which I said the total is total equals to math plus English plus history, right? Now let's type it. Then say equals, set math plus English. So another thing that is fascinating about VS Code, so it stores each and every input of everything that you type. And so now we have English, we have typed English, but before we didn't have this English here, but now it is stored. It knows that these are the algorithms. So history, also finish. So now we skip the line, we say average average equals to total, say divide by 3, right? I'm skipping the lines so that my code will be aesthetic, if I may say. So now let me explain what's happening. That total that we took the variable and said maths plus English plus history, here we literally typed it in, and the average, we took the total, this total here, we take it and put it here, then we divide it by 3, right? Then now we come and say, we say Python, please print, then we want that your average is, remember I've added that say block, then that says your average is, this code here is that same block, that say same block, right? Then we'll say we come here and say, oh, let's say plus, of which a plus is not plus for plus plus plus. Here we are concatenating, so we joining. So concatenate in Python is joining. So we'll join this string, we say average, then we're done. So what really happens is that this is the say block that I've explained, then this string is being concatenated with the average. The average is in this parenthesis. Let me open the terminal so we can run to see if we don't have a bug, because here the bug happens every now and then. So let's run the code and see if we don't have a bug. There we go. So now here, this is where I'll be punching the values. So I'll say, let's say 51, then I press enter, then what is your grade then say 42, then I enter history 51 again, then we got the average here. This is the average, so it says your average is 48.0, of which if we punch it in our calculators we'll get that 48.0. so far this is what the line-based coding is about. So yep, so even if you can jump back to Scratch coding, like, and take those values that you were punching on Scratch and punch them on this terminal, you'll get the same value. So I know Python or a line-based coding can be intimidating, but in the real world this is what we use. So with that being said, if you have a question based on this video, please drop that question on the comment and I'll look into it. So if you're entertained with the limitless world of Scratch and Python, make sure to make that free contribution by hitting the subscribe button and ring the bell so you'll never miss an update for the next video. This motivates me to make more of these videos. As always, one block at a time.